The 678th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing the college football and NFL seasons with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Heidi ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 678 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Still Cote, one of our friends in the Discord who is hitting massive parlays, thanks to us mostly, and probably thanks to the luck of having a Patrick Cote avatar in there. So this goes out to you, Still Cote. Hopefully you're Canadian, like myself. I would be the hilarious Taco Fox, and welcome to part 2 of our UFC Vegas 99 breakdown. Yesterday was all about the prelims. Today is all about the main card and our fancy plays. Almost a team ride on the prelims. Gumby had to zig when I zagged for one of the fights, but we'll see how we do on the main card. We got a 5-fight main card going down. Of course, middleweights are in the main event, but they're actually good middleweights, so we're not complaining. There's Gumby. You just heard him. There he is. Hi, Gumby Reeland.
What's up? Yeah, no, this is it's a surprisingly good card, and I like the middleweights in the main event.
Yeah,
when I was doing a little research for these ones, I was surprised that Michel Pereira had won 8 in a row. That seems like a lot, but man, this is probably a long-awaited main event for him. He probably deserved it well before now.
Yeah, especially the way he fights and personality and everything. You would have thought you would have. You would have thought you would have had one. Well, this is his chance.
Maybe when you illegally knee Diego, he's the one who lost by kneeing Diego Sanchez in the head, right?
I think so. And then,
or was that? No, that might have been somebody else. Now that I'm thinking about it, that was the guy who got fired, Kazula Vargas.
Okay,
Kazula Vargas that kneed him in the head. I think he just lost to Diego Sanchez, which is even maybe wilder.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, this will be a pretty solid fight card that we're going to be breaking down. Thoughts on any of the lines? Anything? At least one line you mentioned off air was a surprise to you, right?
There's 3 on this one that kind of shocked me. I'm pumped about the main card. And
we don't have a line as of this recording for the last minute fight yet, right?
I haven't seen one. I'll do a little digging, but I'll see what I can dig.
Okay. All right. Before while the intern digs, let me tell you about the basketball season is almost here. Almost upon us. The NBA season tips off October 22nd, so we got less than a week to go. And the NBA Gambling Podcast is hosting a wins total contest. Winner gets a $250 SGPN gift card, so you can start dressing cool like myself and Gumby. Head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA contest to enter today before the season starts at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA contest. And of course, thanks for checking out our contest. If you do us a big solid and head over to Spotify, give us a 5-star review. That will help us prevent corporate gambling from taking over, and let people find our show and become friends with us in the Discord and on YouTube and whatnot. So thank you in advance for that. All right, let's get down to the event now, shall we? I said UFC Vegas 99, aka it's UFC Fight Night. Hernandez versus Pereira. Saturday, as per usual, 4 p.m. is the prelims. I assume the main card would make the main card 7. US broadcast is ESPN Plus for this here card. Hopefully it's on Sportsnet here in Canada. If not, you can stream it on Sportsnet on their app. If it's not on the regular TV, let's jump into the card, shall we? Featherweights kick things off. This could be a banger as well. This could be a fight of the night. Early contender here for sure. Darren Elkins, Daniel Pineda, 3 5-minute rounds at featherweight. Tell you about the damage. Darren Elkins first, 28-11, 9 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted once, 18-10 in the UFC. Lost win over his last 4. Won his last fight via submission. I was back in October 2023. He's fought at lightweight, regional champion, 2007 pro MMA debut, 3 inches height, 2 inches reach over Pineda. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes, better grappling stats as well. And he's outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.17 strikes per minute, plus 105. The Pit, Pineda, 28-16 with 3 no contests, 9 knockouts, 19 submissions. He's finished everyone that he's beat. That's very, very, very impressive when you have 28 wins. 3 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted 3 times. 5-7 with 1 no contest over 2 stints in the UFC. 0-2 over his last 2, obviously. 1-3 and 1 with 1 no contest over his last 5. 2 no contests in the PFL due to failed drug tests. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. I'm still wearing it. At sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Used to fight at lightweight and welterweight. 1-4 in Bellator. 2007 Pro MMA debut. A year younger than Elkins. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.38 strikes per minute, -110. I'm going to take a dog right out the gate. Give me Darren Elkins. Have more faith in him at this point in their careers. I was going to say similar fighters, but Pineda basically is more a grappler, but he's not afraid to throw down as well. I think he's going to probably bring Elkins type of fight Elkins likes, and I think at this point I like Elkins a bit more than Pineda, so give me a slight dog here.
Let's team ride Darren Elkins.
Oh, I'm surprised. I thought you were going to take the pick.
No, I like Pineda. I think he might have the better boxing here, but like, I mean, you pretty much mentioned maybe one of the most vital pieces of breakdown here. Daniel Pineda has never won a fight that he hasn't finished. Never won a fight he hasn't finished. And this is Darren Elkins. Like a notoriously hard guy to get out of. I mean, like, think about the beating that dude took from Mirsad Bektic, and he was still right there. I mean, like, and you can point to any of Elkins's fights, and like, he's so durable. I don't think Pineda's got the ability to sub him. I don't think Pineda's got the ability to knock him out. And if this goes the distance, like, I favor Elkins's positioning. I favor Elkins' ability to come forward and just be an animal. And, you know, this seems like a fight where the over is totally in play. It's plus money on the over too, which maybe you'll hear a little bit more about later.
I guess I can't steal that now, can I?
But like, I mean, you can. But like Elkins or Pineda rather has only been finished twice in the last 12 years. Once was a doctor stoppage. So like, even though he's lost by finish 6 times, it's been a really long time since he's been like, Cub Swanson knocked him out. And outside of that, nobody stopped him with strikes or a submission in the last 12 years. So for me, you know, this really feels like it's on an over, and Elkins is favored in those types of fights. So yeah, give me Darren Elkins here.
All right. Excellent. Makes me feel better that Gumby is on my team here. I think we're hitting like 62% of our consensus picks career wise. So it's pretty good when we're on the same page. All right, let's go to the next fight. This fight was just made mere hours before we recorded, after I'd already done the research for Brady Heastan.
This one was made last night.
I'm sorry. Yes,
you missed when I put it in the comments.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So a couple nights by the time you hear this. Jake Hadley from England, Cameron Smotherman, the Smotherman. We've talked about him multiple times on the show. He's from the United States. 3 5-minute rounds at bantamweight. No odds posted for this yet, right? I couldn't find any, and I don't think you have either, right?
I just went digging and I didn't find anything. I'll give you an estimate when they pop up. Yeah.
I'm guessing Smotherman's going to be the dog, so we'll go with him first. He's the babyface killer, and he really is. When you look at him, wow, he looks like a baby. That would be Cameron Smotherman. He's 11-4, 6 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out twice. This is a short notice UFC debut, less than a week notice here. 3-0 over his last 3, 7-1 over his last 8, won his last fight via submission. Is regional champion. He is the Fury champ that we were just talking about, whether he's still the champ or not. We still don't know. I don't think. He lost in the Contender Series. Who did you lose to, Gumby?
Charles Lampros Gregoriou.
Yes. Yeah, and since then he's won 3 straight fights. He's a year younger than Hadley, 2 inches taller, more active landing strikes. He got outstruck in his UFC his Contender Series fight by 9 strikes per minute. Yikes. And we don't know the odds here. White Kong, Jake Hadley, 11-3, 3 knockouts, 5 submissions, never been finished in a fight, 3-3 in the UFC. He's won 1 of his last 3 and 3 of his last 6. He did win his last fight, though. There's positive. Has missed weight before at bantamweight. People are in the Discord already wanting to bet on him missing weight here as well. Also used to fight at flyweight, missed weight at flyweight as well. That was on Contender Series, which he won, and he still got a contract despite he did. That's where he missed weight? Yeah, Contender Series.
Yeah.
I don't think Dana liked his attitude either, did he? Was he the guy that
he's not the one Dana White hated his attitude? I guess the matchmakers didn't like some of the stuff he was doing backstage, and Dana bailed him out.
Yeah, he's British. He can't help himself, right?
Ooh, God. You step in that one.
All right, fine. Yeah, all the Brits are gonna come after me and prove the point. He has outstruck his opponents barely by plus 0.04 strikes per minute. He's got an inch of reach over Smotherman, better striking stats, better grappling stats. Blank. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think he's going to be like, I'm going to say like 325 here.
Okay.
He wasn't a favorite against Brady Heastan,
Yeah.
which means he's definitely going to be a favorite over Cameron Smotherman, but that might help keep the number down a little bit here. And I'm obviously going with Jake Hadley. I think he made the right move moving to bantamweight. Flyweight was not right for him. Clearly he was, putting too much damage on his cardio and his ability to have output. You moved him up to bantamweight, put him up against Cal Lauren, and he just ran through Cal Lauren. So, I think it's the right move for him. And in addition to that, Smotherman's explosive, but like, I don't know, Hadley was putting together such nice combinations, and he has his own wrestling. And I just don't see Smotherman staying away and safe this whole time against Jake Hadley as that pressure comes. You're pretty much, if you're betting on Smotherman, you're betting on him to throw, some kind of bomb in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really have any faith in Hadley. He's only lost 3 times though.
I don't know. He looked really good. Me. He looked really good at bantamweight. And I know that that's a small sample size right now, but like the guys he lost to at flyweight, pretty legit. And in addition to that, like when you count in that he had no cardio for it, I feel like that's worth mentioning.
Yep, that's true. So hopefully he's turning over a new leaf because he came in the UFC with some hype, not massive hype, but we were interested in seeing what he could do, and kind of disappointed a bit at this point, or at least he's been inconsistent. So hopefully he gets the weight on track, and he's still a young guy, so maybe he's just grown into the bantamweight weight class. So yeah, he's my pick as well, Hadley. Hopefully we get a fairly decent line on him. All right, before we move on, Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all of sports: NFL, college football, MLB, MMA. That's us, WNBA, NASCAR, and more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts. And you can now use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. Do you want to show the people our picks again? We
sure, yeah. Let's show them on up.
All right, here are my underdog picks. Famously, my ballot hit last week. My three plays, but we'll see how I am this week. All significant strike plays. Kyler Phillips higher than 65.5 significant strikes against Rob Font. Rob Font lower than 56.5 significant strikes, and then Charles Johnson higher than 69.5 significant strikes. Basically, I'm checking their past history, most recent past history. How long fights have lasted, who they fought, and all these numbers seem playable for me. So there you go.
And I'm going to go with the lower than on Anthony Hernandez's takedowns. I think the physicality is going to be tough for him in that fight. I'm going to take the higher than on Darren Elkins. As we mentioned just a second ago, he might just be able to get a couple of takedowns. And I'm going to take the higher than on Alsu Almabayev's significant strikes. And we talked a little bit about that fight yesterday.
We sure did. So, all right. So that is a most important thing, as you see on your screen on YouTube. MMA SGPN is the code. You're going to want to sign up with our code because then you can claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN, and win yourself some money. Thanks to us, obviously. All right. Moving down to flyweight. This is a pretty good fight card. All the fights are under or either featherweight, bantamweight, flyweight until we get to the main event. The main event's a banger as well. So, all right. Chinese fighter Sumudaerji versus an American, Charles Johnson, at flyweight. Johnson and Mudaerji. Mudaerji, the Tibetan Eagle, 16-6, 13 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been submitted 6 times, 3-3 in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight fights. Before that, he had won 3 straight. Both his past 2 losses via submission, obviously. He's not won since January 2021. Used to fight at bantamweight, 2 inches of reach over Johnson, 5 years younger, better striking stats, better grappling stats than Johnson. And he has outstruck his UFC opponents by 1.91 strikes per minute. Grappling is the issue here. Plus 188. Energy, the famous nickname. All one word, INNERG. Go back into the archives of Top Turtle and my podcast, Gumby's other podcast, if you want to hear why. He's energy, if it's not obvious already. 16-6, 6 knockouts, 4 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 5-4 in the UFC. He's won 3 straight. Before that, he dropped 3 straight. TKO win in his last fight. LFA champ. Used to fight at bantamweight. 1-3-1 as a pro boxer. An inch of height over Mudaerji. More active landing strikes. He's outstruck his UFC opponents by 1.38 strikes per minute. Minus 218. Go chalk again. Give me Johnson here. He seems to have this UFC thing figured out. He came in. I think he was taking short notice fights and stuff when he first came in. He is on a nice little roll here. Mudaerji is not, obviously. And I think Johnson is going to be confounding to him. He's more than capable on the feet and better than him on the ground.
Yeah, I think the biggest piece for me in this fight is just that, like, Sumudaerji is a guy who loses fights because he like wears out or like pours too much on when he really shouldn't, right? The guy you think of the Matt Schnell fight is obviously the biggest example of that. But there's been a lot of examples of that with Mudaerji where he sort of puts his foot on the gas and then finds himself like either without gas or in a bad position because he like kind of got overzealous. Charles Johnson is a guy who punishes people for that, right? Like that's what he just did to, Joshua Van, and Joshua Van's a guy who I think is, really good at conserving energy, but did one thing wrong where he kind of got over his skis and Johnson punished him for it. So yeah, like I think Charles Johnson is the worst thing that Sumudaerji could see standing across from him. And it's not because of the skullet. It's because, it's because he takes advantage of people when they make mistakes. And Mudaerji makes a lot of mistakes.
All righty. There you go. All right. We are to our co-main event already, ladies and gentlemen. This is a bantamweight fight. As I get back to my page here, it would be Rob Font versus Kyler Phillips. We got a couple Galaxy Brains back-to-back fights here, Gumby. Amazing. These are Americans. These are bantamweights. It is the Galaxy Brain episode. We were telling you about Rob Font first. He's not a Galaxy Brain. He's 20-8, 9 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been submitted once. A durable dude. 10-7 in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight, and he only won 1 of his last 5. Missed weight before at bantamweight. Used to fight at featherweight and lightweight. Regional champion. 2011 Pro MMA debut. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.88 strikes per minute, plus 340. Surprised by this line. The Matrix, Kyler Phillips, 12-2, 5 knockouts, 2 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 6-1 in the UFC. He's won 3 straight and 7 of 8. Has not lost since July 2021. 1-0 on Contender Series. 0-1 in Tough. An inch of reach over Font. 8 years younger. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes, and better grappling stats. And he's outstruck his opponents by 2.34 strikes per minute, minus 400. This line, Gumby.
It's nuts. Dude, you got to get on Rob Font at this number, right? Like, and I'm not saying that as if like Rob Font is some obvious winner here, but like you mentioned 1-4 in his last 5, which is undoubtedly the reason why he's the underdog in this fight. Who's the worst loss in that group of 4?
Yeah,
it's Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo is the worst loss in that 4. And that's crazy because he lost to Cheeto and Davison Figueiredo and Corey Sandhagen. Like, that is an insane group in such a strong strength of schedule. I got to go with Rob Font here. I also think the way he doubles up on his jab when he's boxing is going to be problems for Kyler Phillips, who tries to give you like these weird looks. Like, if he keeps trying to cut weird angles and stuff and has to eat 2 jabs on the way in, and not that Rob Font doesn't drop bombs too once in a while, because like he used to knock people out all the time. But like, if he just gets back to his way of like his simple boxing and the things he does really well, I think he deals with Kyler Phillips, who's never seen somebody of his skill level. And then the other thing, and I mentioned this off air and I mentioned this in the Discord, this is a fun piece of information for anybody who's interested. Rob Font has done this training camp at TriStar MMA. He's been training with, instead of, not that I don't like the New England Cartel guys, and I've heard they've gone and visited him and whatnot. Like, I think him having a lot of bantamweight bodies he can go with all the time, and fresh bodies and different looks, I think is huge for him. Instead of seeing the same 3, 4, 5 guys that he typically sees. And, getting the look, Faraz Zahabi is going to be in his corner this weekend. Like, to me, having a different set of eyes helping you coach you, a whole bunch of new training partners and all of those kinds of things, I think it's great when you're in a rut to do that kind of thing. I think Rob Font's making the right moves, and I think when you see 340, you got to take a roll on him.
I'm not going to still, despite agreeing with all of that. I'm going to go with a much younger fighter, especially at bantamweight. Nice, well-rounded fighter. Guy who is not losing a bunch and switching fight camps because he's losing. I think Phillips.
I believe Kyler Phillips did change his camps recently. If I'm not mistaken, isn't he one of the MMA lab leaders to go to?
Was he? Okay.
Am I wrong about that? I might be wrong about that. He might still be at the lab, but I think he might have been one of the ones who was a part of the Exodus.
I'm still taking the younger guy with less wear and tear on him. So I don't like the line, though. I'm not taking this in real life, that's for sure. But I think he's going to win the fight. So, all right, before we hit the main event, I got to tell you about Rhythm. I don't have to. I want to tell you about Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. And also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RTHMM. And we're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. U.S. players are always welcome. Sign up and deposit $100, and you have a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang. Check out all the MMA lines and use our link to sign up and get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. Okay, main event time. Middleweights, but good middleweights. Michel, Pereira, Anthony Hernandez, Brazil versus United States of America. 5 5-minute rounds, 185. I'll tell you about Demolidor first. That would be Pereira. 31-11 with 2 no contests, 11 knockouts, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. 9-2 in the UFC. He's won 8 straight fights, 3 straight via finish. Has not lost since February 2020. Used to fight at welterweight. Has missed weight at welterweight. Was a regional champion in 2011 pro MMA debut, an inch of height. More active landing strikes than Hernandez. Has outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.46 strikes per minute, plus 122. Fluffy Hernandez, 12-2 with 1 no contest, 2 knockouts, 8 submissions. Been knocked out once, submitted once. 6-2 in the UFC. He's won 5 straight and 6 of 7. He's also won 3 straight fights via finish. The no contest was on the Contender Series, but it was for weed, so he really won that fight. LFA champion, 2014 Pro MMA debut, 2 inches of reach over Pereira. Has outstruck his opponents in the UFC and Contender Series by 0.84 strikes per minute, minus 130. Give me the dog here. Give me Michel Pereira. Better all-around fighter. I think he has got the ground game. Hernandez basically relies on the ground game. I think he has a ground game to stymie Hernandez. Pretty good at stuffing takedowns as well. That's probably the key here. Trying to stay off of his back, and he's going to be way better on the feet. So, and then you add in the fact he's on a massive. They're both on roll, so that pretty much is a wash there. Kind of fought similar levels of competition as well, but the all-around game for Pereira and much better on the feet is my pick. So give me a dog.
Yeah, I mostly agree with you on this one. I think Pereira has the physicality to stay off of his back with Anthony Hernandez. I know Hernandez has kind of surprised us with his wrestling once in a while, but like Pereira is so big and strong and like sleepily has really great wrestling. And then in addition to that, like you're right. The striking difference here, I think, is just going to be massive. Pereira is a wildly underrated striker. And that's even being that like people recognize he's weird, but like he's weird, but also like fairly technical when he starts putting his combinations together. Like he does love to do some weird stuff, but like when he decides to throw like a double jab and a cross, like it comes exactly the way it ought to. And is devastating in terms of power. Like this dude is so big and strong for middleweight. I can't believe he used to make welterweight. Yeah, give me Michel Pereira here. I think he's going to pull this one out for us.
Yeah, one of the rare guys that's switching weight classes actually panned out for him. All fighters think is going to pan out for him when they switch weight classes. It actually did for Mr. Pereira. All right, let's recap. Don't you go away though. We got our bonus plays at the end there. Pereira team ride. I got Phillips. He's got Font. Both have Johnson. We both have Hadley. We both have Elkins. So we disagreed on one fight, just like yesterday's episode. All right. Locks, dogs, props, parlays. I think it's you. Is it you or is it me?
I can go first. I don't mind.
You go first.
I always know yours anyway. So,
good. Yep. True.
Yeah, I'm going to take Gian Matsumoto as my lock. I know the number is a little bit larger than what I usually like for a lock, but there's not really a line here that I'm loving in terms of the money line. For a lot of these fights. So, negative 240, maybe not the best looking line, but he is the surest thing I see out there.
And he's sneaking in some more Canadian hate in there as well. So
that's right.
Taking Matsumoto. You know all my picks already, you said?
I wrote them down. Let's see if I get them right.
Lock is Elise Reed.
I think
right.
actually I did have her as your prop though.
Okay.
I thought you were going to take Elise Reed decision. So I
Nope.
did have her
That's a good
as you
play,
being
though.
one of the ones that you like, but
Yep. No,
I had her in the wrong spot.
that's a good play. Women's strawweights decision is a good play. But yeah, Reed via any way she wants. She's my lock. You can listen to yesterday's episode if you want to know why.
My dog, I'm going to take Michel Pereira.
Team ride.
Ooh, that's going to be your dog too?
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually going to guess that you were going to take Elkins.
I was thinking about it,
yeah. But all right, yeah, both of us take a Pineda here. I just think bigger, stronger, better striker in a nice plus 122 line there. So that'll be both our dogs. For my prop, I'm going to go Darren Elkins. I'll take him by decision. As we mentioned, it's not like Pineda gets finished very often, and it's not like Elkins is some kind of big finisher either. So what do you think you can get on the decision prop for Darren Elkins? You want to take a stab at guessing that?
Yeah, because I had it as my pick. I changed it before a few fights ago. It was plus 345 or something like that.
I found plus 350, but virtually the same thing. 350 on the decision line for Darren Elkins.
Perfect. I got the opposite. I got inside the distance fight. Charles Johnson inside the distance.
Charles Johnson is who I had as your lock.
All right. Charles Johnson inside the distance plus 225. Sumudaerji's been finished back-to-back fights. I don't know if Johnson's going to necessarily sub him. So I'm being safer because he finishes people with TKOs as well. So give me inside the distance plus 225.
I just had him flip-flopped.
Yep. The right people. Yep. Yeah. All right. Matsumoto, Reed, locks, payout, dog, Elkins decision, Johnson inside the distance are our props. Now we got a Hungry Man Jong super fan parlay, 2-fight parlay. We're due for it to hit this week.
We've been getting really good props if you've been hanging out in the Discord, and some of them have been tangentially related or related to the underdog or the Superman Jong. So make sure you head on in there. We hit a big Jonathan Mikoloff submission prop on Tuesday, and we got some really nice ones last week too. I'm gonna go nuts here. I want a big old one. We're gonna talk huge numbers. The first one I'm gonna take Rob Font on the points. I already like Rob Font's money line. I mentioned plus 340. I think he has all the tools to beat somebody like Kyler Phillips. I like the camp change. I also think he's not a finisher, especially this stage in his career. And if he just goes in there and outpoints Kyler Phillips, you can get 6-1. You can get plus 600 on him by decision. I think that's a great line. And then another line I'm going to sneak in there. Our dog of the week, Mr. Michel Pereira. This one's going to sound a little bit crazy to some of you. Michel Pereira by submission.
Yeah.
Hear me out on this one. This guy loves a submission. He loves bucking the trend of being what people think he is, which is a crazy striker with just KO power. And it was like very clear. Was it Michael Olashejek he fought? That he went in there and it was like, oh, he wants to sub him. He doesn't care about the KO. He wants to get that submission. I even said it on the Boss's show that week that he was going to want to get the submission. Fighting a guy who didn't get subbed by Rodolfo Vieira, being the guy to sub him, being the Brazilian guy to sub him. I think that's too tempting to Michel Pereira. I love a club and sub here. The club and sub option here for Michel Pereira is plus 700.
Oh, so this is going to be a massive one.
We're going to put the 700 and the 600 together, and you get 55-1.
Oh, that's the biggest ever, right?
I think so. I don't think I've gone bigger than 55-1, but I do like the 55-1 here.
Let's do it. Let's hit it. All right. So font decision payout submission. All right, you're all set for this year event. You want to chat more about it or about anything else? We're in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. We are on checking out the comments on YouTube. MMA Gambling Podcast would be our site. Or our channel, SGPN MMA on Twitter. He's going to be Vreeland. I'm Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. Now that you know who's going to win, get in my free UFC Pick'em contest at moneymma.substack.com. Win yourself some prizes. Gumby has got Top Turtle MMA Podcast. He has 2 fighters on it this week that he's interviewing, and they are...
Brady Heastan, despite his fight getting canceled, we're still talking to him about kind of interesting stuff. You can ignore the fight talk if you'd like. And we're also talking to Ayman Zahabi, who is how I got that information on Rob Font changing fight camps and his brother Faraz being in his corner.
There you go. So check out Top Turtle. And of course, you can find us at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, podcast.com/Patreon. Gumby, take us out until we're back Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. We're back to the Sunday to Thursday schedule now that Contender Series is over.
Yeah, I'm Dana Gumby Freeland. He's the Energy Jeff Fox. And we will see you Sunday.